In the headlines, a curfew goes into effect from midnight Wednesday until noon Friday. Public servants told to stay home on Thursday as a tropical storm Isaac heads for Dominica. And the Ministry of Public Works secures heavy equipment for post-tropical storm cleanup. I'm Andrea Louis with the Channel 5 News. Back with the details after this.
M&J Covering is the producer of designed galvanized and galvalume in Dominica. They design to your specifications, color and length, 4 styles of galvanized and galvalume pre-painted roofing sheets as requested, and supply all your galvalume accessories. M&J Covering helps you control spending and reduce waste. At M&J Covering, they are also equipped to build your roof to precise standards anywhere on island. So come to M&J Covering at 1 Mile in Portsmouth or call 445-5001-275-5003 today.
Thank you for staying with us. First up, the government of Dominica has taken the decision that there will be no work on Thursday for the public sector in anticipation of Tropical Storm Isaac. Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit made the announcement when addressing the nation on Wednesday morning. He encouraged the private sector to follow suit in suspending work for their employees on Thursday.
I have been advised and we have taken the decision and we have accepted the advice to suspend work for the public service on Thursday, 13th September. So there will be no work for public officers. And again, we would like to call on the private sector to follow in that same manner, to have their employees stay home. I understand that there are essential services, and those essential services will be at work. So people like myself will be at work. But the rest of us in the public service are asked to stay home and to ensure that we can secure ourselves, secure our families and our properties. And we'd like for the private sector to do the same.
Mr. Skerrit also called on farmers and the fisher folk to safeguard their livelihoods ahead of the storm.
So I want to again appeal to all of us to secure our properties. Those of us who have boats, we need to secure the boats, because do not leave your boat unattended and believe that the government will come in to replace your boat because of your negligence. You have animals, you know, if your animals are close to waterways and in areas that are prone to flooding and landslides and mudslides, you need to bring them into safer ground. These are your livelihoods, and therefore you have a responsibility, a personal responsibility, to secure your livelihoods.
In other top stories, Minister for Public Works, Dr. John Colin McIntyre, is assuring the Dominican public of an increased number of heavy equipment on island to help in the event of blocked roads as a result of Tropical Storm Isaac. During a press briefing leading up to the tropical storm's impact on Dominica, Dr. McIntyre said part of the lessons learned from Hurricane Maria last year is the need to have more heavy-duty equipment on island.
What we have done, we have placed throughout Dominica, and I must admit, Dominica, we have a lot of equipment on island right now, and that's one major plus for us. As you can see, we've been dredging rivers non-stop since Maria, and we still continue to dredge, and we are re-dredging, if you want to call it that, areas that have been silted recently as well. But what I want to urge our people to understand is when we call a particular cut-off period, let's respect it, because the reason why we are calling it is to make sure we protect the resource. And we don't want to have the resource open to the vulnerabilities of this hurricane season.
Chief Technical Officer in the Ministry of Public Works gave a synopsis of the strategic locations of these pieces of equipment.
We have equipment in Roseau, Point Michel to Soufriere, equipment deployed at Point Michel, Castle Comfort, Wallhouse, the Roseau Valley. We have equipment at Mont Prosper, Loda, Watton-Waven, Coptol, Trafalgar, Louisville. Roseau to Granby, Geneva, Font Saint-Jean, Pichelet, and Granby. Belleville-Chopin. Pont-Cassé to Roseau. We have equipment at Cochrane, Canefield, Antrim, Mont Daniel. EU Leblanc Highway to Portsmouth, equipment at Belfast, Bioche, Layou Valley, Collyho, Jimmet, Warner, Salisbury, Bells, and Dublin. Portsmouth to Marigot, equipment at Melville Hall, that's Douglas Charles, Anse de May, Portsmouth, Vickers, and Woodford Hill, also in Marigot. Pont Cassé to White River, that's along the East Coast. La Ronde, Grand Fond, Montjean, and Bouetica. And Guadiab to Hatton Garden at Cassibruce, Saint-Sauveur.
Johnson says the ministry is more prepared for a weather event this time around and spoke to the use of bailey bridges should the need arise.
Also, as part of our planning process, we have procured some emergency bridging. So if in case one of the roads go down and we have a loss of a section, we have on island, and those bridges are stored at the port, about 130 meters of emergency bridging, single lane bridging. So just to give you an idea, we have 2 sets of bridging that can do 30 meter span, another 2 sets that could do 20 meter span, and another 2 sets that could do 15 meter span. So I think we are very much prepared and well stocked to deal with emergencies that would relate to loss of road sections.
In related news, Minister for Health Dr. Kenneth Daru says all health systems are on high alert ahead of Tropical Storm Isaac. Dr. Daru also encouraged the public to take the necessary steps to protect their health during and after the passage of Tropical Storm Isaac.
We have done all that we could possibly do to, of course, minimize or completely eliminate loss of life during the impending season, were it to hit. Of course, eliminate or reduce injuries, which of course could result in long-term disabilities and of course some quality of living. Also, we have urged citizens and especially patients who suffer with chronic diseases to ensure that their medical records are kept safe. Also to ensure that they keep at least a week or 2 week supply of medication. At PMH, we've done also all we could possibly do at PMH to ensure that again, under the circumstances, to ensure that we have a ready supply of pharmaceuticals, drugs, oxygen, all the necessary human resources that the staff, doctors, etc. are in place. And of course, we want to thank these doctors and nurses, some who might have been on leave, and on the request of the Ministry of Health, would have readily agreed, to return back to work or be available for work.
Acting Director of Primary Health Care, Dr. Lenora Fervier-Drago, says the majority of health centers around the island will be operational for Tropical Storm Isaac.
Out of our 49 health centers, we have 39 of them that are fully functional. We'll now mention 10 health centers which have been displaced and were displaced since Maria. So these health centers are the Newtown Health Center, where patients are being seen at the Roseau Health Center, the Mont Prosper Health Center, which is being seen at the Roseau Health Center. The Warner Health Center is being seen, patients are being seen at the annex right there at the Warner Health Center. The Point Michel Health Center is patients are being seen at the Resource Center in Point Michel. The Scott's Head Health Center will be located at the basement of the Catholic Church. The Pishley Health Center, patients are being seen at the Grand Bay Health Center. In Coolibistry, patients are being seen at the Church Presbytery, that's the Catholic Church Presbytery. The Dodan patients are being seen at the Portsmouth Health Center. The Penville patients are being seen at the Vickers Health Center, and the Bouetica patients are being seen at the Laplane Health Center. All other health centers remain in their original positions.
Health officials are also reporting improved communication among the districts as the health centers have been equipped with HF and handheld radios, while satellite phones have been strategically distributed to health centers in Castlebruce, Grand Bay, Soufriere, Marigot, Portsmouth, and the Princess Margaret Hospital. As the country braces for the tropical storm, Minister for Disaster Management Joseph Isaac is imploring the public to look out for the vulnerable populations. He called on village councils, disaster committees, community leaders and parliamentarians to work together during the passage of Tropical Storm Isaac.
I'm calling on all individuals to take personal responsibility for ensuring the safety of family members, especially the elderly, the disabled, and children. Rest assured that the Cabinet and members of NIPU are taking this matter very seriously, so we'd like you to also take it seriously and take your personal responsibility at the household level seriously.
Isaac warned those living in disaster-prone areas should also be proactive in moving to safer areas.
Remember, we are not only prone to wind, but also we are prone to flooding, landslides, and also particularly river flooding. So again, I'm advising everyone who is close to river beds or river banks to avoid being in those areas, since even if we don't have a hurricane, even if it is not upgraded, that there's a serious threat to life and property. So I'm asking you to safeguard yourself and get to safe ground.
Meantime, Chairman of the Emergency Shelters Subcommittee of NIPO, Glenroy Toussaint, says there are now 108 emergency shelters which will be activated for Tropical Storm Isaac. Coming up on the Channel 5 News, meet one woman who longs to be home after a year in an emergency shelter. That and more after the break.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, galvanized and fenced pipe. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Welcome back. 1 year after Hurricane Maria, many Dominicans are happily back in their renovated homes, but there are still quite a few living in hurricane shelters.
The original number of displaced people living downstairs the Fatima Church in Newtown has dwindled, but 13 of them still live there 1 year after Hurricane Maria. Augustina David is one of them. She moved in downstairs the Fatima Church a week after Hurricane Maria.
2 weeks after Maria, I went and tried to put what I got from my home, plywood, galvanized and post together to make a little box. But I started and it haven't complete, so I'm still here. I'm saying hopefully when time comes, I will get there.
Because you had a place before.
Yes, I had a place before.
So the extent of the damage was just roof only, or there was other damage?
Everything.
You lost everything?
Yes, everything. What I got in the yard is, I probably 2 sheets of galvanized I got from my home in the yard. The rest flew about the place. And I got some plywood, some posts. I didn't get everything because they fly all about. But I thank God for what I get, that I could put something back together and go and sit down and relax. Because I don't.
But you've been here for a year.
A year, yes.
What has that been like for you, being here for years? It must have been challenging for you.
It's challenging. It's a great experience. That is one of the greatest experiences I go through in life. And hopefully, as I say, this hurricane season, the good Lord is great to us. And he will watch over us, as usual. He will take care of us. Because it downgraded from a hurricane into the hurricane present coming there, downgrade from a hurricane to a tropical storm. But then we still need to keep our eyes open because water and flood. Probably we might not get heavy wind like Maria, but the water, the flooding, landslide, mudslides, that is what we have to really, really be precautious of.
Any challenges? Do you have electricity? What is the situation?
That is what we need here. At least even if we're here and we have to move out, but they put in the priest, make them fix the electricity upstairs and up to now we do. They fix that and up now we do get electricity here. Because sometimes we just have our little phone to charge and we just have to see if we get places to charge our phone.
What about water and washrooms and so on?
We have a washroom here. We clean it. And here, we have water here. That's where we wash our dishes and take water to wash our clothes. So we do really have another place. But I now have a drum. I put a pipe head on it, and I put it at the back over there, under the spot of the church, and also it's full. So instead of bathing in front there, people can bathe at the back. Yes.
So you've pretty much made a life out of this thing.
Oh, yes.
But living in such close proximity to other individuals downstairs the Fatima Church can be a little challenging sometimes.
I always say that. I always say, well, God will bless the day that I live here because I need to take my child from here. Sometimes some of the people, they argue, they curse each other, you know. Wow. But then, you know, sometimes you just have to ask them to calm down or finish with that. And, you know, and another thing again, we go through some kind of, you know, touching. Sometimes people pass and take your things, you know, and what I would say again, well, people get into difficulty. People always get into difficulty. Like my mother would say, teeth and tongue, they get into problem. But then is how to cope with the situation.
Augustina originally planned to return home at the end of August, but she says she still needs roofing materials and plywood to complete her home restoration project.
Displaced families living at government's temporary housing project near the Dominica Grammar School appear to be preparing for the approaching storm on Wednesday.
However, Channel 5 News spoke to one resident there who was not entirely satisfied that she was totally prepared. Jacqueline James expressed concern that she did not have enough food supplies for her family.
How are you preparing for the approaching storm?
I prepare myself very well.
What you doing? You putting food away, you storing food and water?
I have water, but I need some food and some clothing.
You have enough water?
Yeah, yes, I have enough water.
How much water you have?
Sir, so I don't.
How many gallons of water you have there?
Maybe around 4 gallons.
That's enough. How many people in the family?
How much we have now? 5 or 6 of us in the family.
And 4 gallons of water, you think that'll be enough for 2 or 3 days?
Oh, well, sir, I'll collect more. More.
Okay. What about the food issue? You said you have a problem with food. You need more food.
Yes, I need more food. I have a problem.
What sort of food are you looking for? What would you like?
Rice, sugar, things to make tea, and macaroni and those things here.
Anything you want? Anything for the children?
Flour, and some clothing for the children. Make some cereal for the children, and so yes, we need that.
Okay. Now, if you plan to stay here until it gets bad, and then you move to the
no, I don't plan to stay until it gets bad. If I say I will move before it gets, it gets worse than that.
But where are you going to go to? Which shelter are you going to go to?
To the grammar school shelter.
It's not too far from you?
No, not too far from, just there. Not too far from
what you want to make sure is that you're not running through the wind storm with the children.
No, I'm not. I will move before that.
Jacqueline was among residents of Emsall who suffered loss during Hurricane Maria.
I was living at Emsall, and the light side came down and it took my house with everything in it, so everything to the river. Emsall. I was living right by the river, Emsall. Me, her mother was living at the back, and I was living at the, I was at the back, and mother living at the front, and it took our houses.
So you lost everything during Maria?
Everything, sir. Everything I lost.
What has life been like for you? Has it been a difficult year for you?
Yes, it's very hard. All it's very hard.
What is the most difficult thing for you find in the last year or so? What is it? Do you work somewhere? Are you able to?
I'm not working.
Is that the reason why?
Yes, that's the reason why I'm not working.
Okay. So it's not just enough to have a place to stay. You also need some income.
Yes, I need some income. Yes.
You getting government assistance?
No, sir.
She says she survives through assistance from her family. We should point out that we advised Jacqueline as to where she could secure some supplies ahead of the storm and encourage her to do so at the earliest.
Maho is among communities hardest hit by Hurricane Maria, and government assistance has been helping restore roofs there. But as in other communities, there are still individuals there who are under tarpaulin a year after Hurricane Maria.
One of them is Mr. Beresford Smith, who is in his 70s. We met Mr. Smith sitting on his porch downstairs speaking with neighbors. He moved downstairs after he lost his roof to Hurricane Maria a year ago. Smith did not appear worried, and there's a good reason. He says government has committed to replace his roof, a task which will have to be undertaken sometime after the storm. A contractor whom we met speaking with Mr. Smith told us 40 sheets of galvanized will be enough to repair Smith's roof. Smith is aware that residents who need to can seek shelter at the village council building at Tiza, but he is confident the ground floor of his house is up to the task and he won't have to move.
Meantime, another resident of Maho told Channel 5 News she has been living under tarpaulin for too long.
She says one part of her roof survived Hurricane Maria intact, but the rest of it presents a serious problem, particularly when it rains. She says besides that, during disasters, her home floods as much as the nearby drain does. She recalled that during Hurricane Maria, floodwaters inside her home rose up to her waist. An $8.2 million housing repair project is underway in the Maho constituency. Parliamentary Representative Honorable Rayburn Blackmore has emphasized that based on the magnitude of the project, which also caters to Canefield, Campbell, Massac, Roger, Springfield and Warner, it will take some time. In light of the approaching storm, the Maho Village Council was due to go around the community on Wednesday afternoon to assess the readiness of senior citizens and others who may need to be moved to safer ground ahead of the approaching storm.
To end the news, the headlines again. A curfew goes into effect from midnight Wednesday until noon Friday. Public servants told to stay home Thursday as Tropical Storm Isaac heads to Dominica. And the Ministry of Public Works secures heavy equipment for post-tropical storm cleanup. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Andrea Louis, and to all of our viewers around the world, thank you so much for watching. Join us next time.